The old dating game, it was always a woman picking 3 guys. And did she always pick the ugliest guy? It was uncanny. If you were going to go on the dating game, pick some guy to go on a big date with, wouldn't you bring your best friend down to sit in the front row of the audience? Number 2! Get number 2! You know that wasn't happening, though, because Goomba always came around the wall for the big date of the day. I'm watching once, this woman's picking the 3 guys, asking the really stupid questions they write before the show. If I were a Twinkie, what would you fill me with? No. Back. Now, bachelors number 1 and number 2 were normal human beings. Number 3 was a goon. He was a loser. Out comes Jim Lang, the MC, to introduce the bachelors she didn't pick. You didn't pick bachelor number 1. Bachelor number 1's a ski instructor. He likes to surf and give rub-downs. Meet Robert. Robert gets up, walks around the little wall, and as soon as he gets around the wall, big zoom in on her face. Oh, hi! Paisley miniskirt, white vinyl boots up to here, the beehive, we all remember her. Kisses her on the cheek, stands next to her. You also didn't pick bachelor number 2. Bachelor number 2's a doctor and a lawyer. Says he likes to French kiss women for hours on end. Say hello to Jerome. Jerome gets up. This guy's blonde, French. He walks around the wall, big zoom in. She's in 7th heaven. Now let's meet the bachelor you did pick. But bachelor number 3 works at Taco Bell. In his spare time, he likes to read comic books and squeeze pimples. Say hello to Willard. Willard gets up, starts walking the wrong way, first of all. Big zoom in on her face. She's trying to get number 2 to call her after the show. And then that show was always followed by the newlywed game. After that, divorce court. Probably my favorite show of all time has to be Hawaii Five-0. Now, I never knew why HPD is the Honolulu Police Department. Do you know why they called the state police Hawaii Five-0? 50th state. Isn't that stupid? I mean, what's the point? Freeze, New Jersey, 3! What? Steve McGarrett, this guy was so cool. He'd sit in his office, drink coffee, put Vaseline in his hair, and then order Dano and Chin around, right? Get me a coffee, cream, no sugar, and a Danish. Do my laundry, right, Steve? Because they got to be in the credits. That was their big payoff, right? Every week, Dano would stick his mug in the broken glass. It would say, James MacArthur. And this bothered me every week. Cam Fung as Chin Ho. I said, what's the difference here? Clearly, that is a racist joke. It occurred to me after living in San Francisco a couple of years, it's a lot of Asian people watching this show. They're all sitting at home. Jack Lord as Steve McGarrett, what's the difference, man? It's the same thing. Sword cuts both ways. Now, one guy was ripped off, never got to be in the credits. Che in the lab. Remember this guy? A little white coat, the scene of every crime. He'd dust for prints, and then he'd find a puka shell. He'd take the shell back to the lab, and God only knows what was in this lab. He'd come up with phenomenal deductions about who committed the crime. Did you get anything for me, Che? Yeah, Steve, I was able to isolate a small molecular strand of polyester from the puka shell. From that, I can conclude the man was in his late 30s and from Wisconsin. That's great work, Che. Wisconsin's the 39th state, Steve, ratified. And okay, fine. Chin, get me a list of all the people who left Wisconsin since 1949. Get on that right away. Right, Steve. And he turns and runs out of the office. Where does he go? That's all I really want to know. The Maui Archives. He's looking at microfilm somewhere. Did you get anything else, Jay? Yeah, Steve, from the tire tracks I lifted, I could tell he was driving a late model Pontiac. Good work, Jay. We'll see about getting your name in those titles. Dano! I want you to hit all the gas stations on the island. Get me a list of all the people who bought gas in the last 10 years. Get on that right away. Right, Steve. There goes Dano off to all the AM, PM mini-marts in Hawaii with a big clipboard. They get all this information, they list it on a blackboard. Einstein couldn't put this crime together. Steve paces a couple of times, and he gets a hunch. Wait a minute, Dano, wait a minute. He didn't like his mother. His moon is in Pluto. He's going to want to hit the museum. Let's get over there right away. I'm going, wait a minute, let's go over this one more time. They all run to the museum, and there is the guy with the glass cutter in one hand, the Mohula Hula diamonds in the other, picture of his mom, a line through it, everything fits. 90 cops run in, they all point guns at him, and the show's over. Almost. But you can't change channels, and you can't turn it off until you hear that one line. Like a junkie waiting for a fix, you're going to say it to him, pal. You say it every show, go ahead. You all know it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Welcome, Dano! Does that frighten you at all? More people know Bookham Dano than voted in 1984. Johnny can't read, but he knows Bookham Dano and the words to the Flintstones.